And Preetha ji, would you mind sharing with us, just to start off, what the mission of One World Academy is?
One World Academy is here to move individuals from a place of feeling limited to a beautiful state. It has a huge spectrum. It is a journey that they have at One World Academy. When individuals come to us, to start with, they begin their journey. If they want the least that they get from us, is they move from a place of anxiety and frustration or agitation within to a place of calm. That's where we start. Then we move ahead into appreciating life from a place of taking things for granted, from a space of feeling that everything is for taking things for granted. You move to a place of appreciating life, celebrating life, and to feel grateful for this life. People move from a space of feeling war within oneself, where there's so much of division and conflict within oneself, and which manifests as war with the other and war with the world, into a place of feeling composed, to a place of feeling peace within oneself. Individuals experience feeling connection to the world, connection to the individuals, connection to the people around, from feeling separated and disconnected. From being engrossed within oneself in self-centric thinking, in their own pain, inner pain and suffering, they experience freedom. From feeling separated from all that is, from feeling divided from all that is, they experience oneness, they experience unity, they experience being one. This is the journey that happens at One World Academy. It is a spectrum which is nothing short of bringing about a revolution in one's consciousness. At every stage, it is about revolutionizing one's consciousness, one's experience of self, to feel being one, to feel expanded, to feel that love, to feel that joy.
That's beautiful, thank you. This journey from these states that you described as stressful states,
Yes.
Feeling separated, feeling lonely, feeling empty,
Yes.
to this destination of feeling calm and feeling connected and feeling whole. What's different in the spiritual teachings or the teachings of One World Academy? There are a lot of great teachers out there. There have been teachings for hundreds, thousands of years. What is it that distinguishes what you teach about this journey at One World Academy?
We are very passionate about bringing about a revolution in consciousness. We have put everything that it takes to make it happen. For individuals who come into this campus, as you have experienced,
Yes.
we want to do all that it takes to bring about a transformation in that sense of self, to bring about the transformation in your thinking, to bring about a transformation in your choices, in your actions, and thereby your destiny. One World Academy is the coming together of wisdom and a direct experience. We want both to happen. Just an experience without the wisdom is no good, or just the wisdom without an experience is no good. When we talk about experience, experiencing beautiful states, experiencing transcendental states, when you experience these states, something happens to the consciousness. So it is a coming together of wisdom and a direct experience that I would say makes it very different from other moments, the other places that people go to.
Yes.
Right now, meditation has become a culture. Meditation has become a way of life. Right? People want to meditate so that they can live stress-free. But that is the starting point at One World Academy. That is not the end for us. We want them to grow to such an extent that the entire feeling of how they feel about themselves gets transformed. They no longer feel limited, they no longer feel limited to the body, but they have these beautiful experiences that they know that there is a state in consciousness where they feel they're so connected. And when you know that there is a space in consciousness where you're actually so connected, at times in life when there is a challenge, when you're feeling disconnected, it is easy to get back, move away from that space of disconnection to place of connection. So these experiences that is woven into the process, that is woven into the meditation, combined with the wisdom that is coming along, makes the journey complete. When we say complete, we say it is complete because we see people actually transform their lives, the experience of life.
You know, I've experienced the teachings at One World Academy. I've been here for the last 5 days going through the Field of Transformation program. And I also participated in the 3-day Being Limitless program. And I've spent the last 10 years as a seeker. And I came here really with one question that I've been looking for an answer for the last 3 years, which is I understand that how I feel comes from me, comes from my inner world. And, but I didn't know what I wasn't seeing in my own thinking that was causing my pain and suffering. And before I share what it was that I found, what I find so profound about these wisdom teachings is the simplicity of them. There are core, fundamental teachings that are unique to One World Academy, for example, 2 states of being. Can you explain a couple of these cornerstones of the wisdom teachings?
There are only 2 states of being, suffering and no suffering, or unawareness and unawareness. There is no third state. When you say suffering, you can put all the painful states. And when you say no suffering, you can all the beautiful states that we experience.
Okay.
When we look at all the painful states, I've already explained to you, the stressful states, anxiety, fear, hurt, jealousy, comparison, feeling low about oneself, feeling lonely. Everything is a painful state. If you're not in a painful state, that means you are in a beautiful state. A beautiful state of joy, a beautiful state of love, a compassion, togetherness, or experiencing oneness. These are all the beautiful states. You either live in this state or this state.
There's no in between. There's no I'm 30% in a beautiful state and 70% in a suffering state.
At every moment, it is either this state or this state. There is no third state. And we have a choice whether to live in this state or this state. The second strong teaching or second pillar of One World Academy is individuals suffer, all suffering is because of self-centric thinking. When we say self-centric thinking, we are not talking about selfishness. It is where the entire thinking is revolving around oneself. See, actually when you suffer, when you are in those painful states, when you are in those limited states, if you bring your attention little towards yourself, the thinking would be so much revolving around oneself. Why did this happen? Why should it be me? What did I do that it is happening to me? The entire thinking is revolving around oneself. And that thinking is suffering. If the thinking is not revolving around yourself, and if the thinking is where you're connected to the other, in that thinking, there is no suffering. The suffering is only when there is self-centered thinking. And we are differentiating definitely between a problem and suffering.
Yeah, this was the huge breakthrough for me, which was the idea that the suffering is the self-centric thinking. In other words, we tend to associate that there's a particular problem and yeah, okay, I may be causing myself pain through my thinking about the problem, my thinking about how I never have enough money, or my thinking about how my partner is angry at me. But there's still some suffering in the experience of the partner or the problem. But what you're saying is that suffering itself, there's a challenge.
There is a challenge when you are facing a difficult situation. There is a challenge when you're facing something that you don't want to face with your partner or with your family or with your children. There is a challenge. But that is a problem to be solved. But moving away from the problem, the focus gets on yourself. Why is he doing it to me? Why is he causing me so much pain? Why is my child not listening to me? Have I done the right thing? When the movement goes towards oneself, entire experience is painful.
Yes.
It is suffering. So we are differentiating between a challenge and suffering. And if you are not in this place of self-centric thinking, if you're not in this place of suffering, you can cut through suffering. If you know the path to cut through suffering, the way you address problems, the intelligence that you can give to a situation or a response that you can give to a problem will be totally different. There would be intelligence that will be flowing out. But as long as it is just self-centric thinking and suffering revolving around oneself, there is no clear thinking that can happen.
So people might say, well, Preetha ji, that's easy to say, but my boss is doing this, and my children I have to deal with over here, and the financial problems over there. It's real stress. But what you're suggesting is, yes, these are challenges, but the suffering that you experience, the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the feeling of not being good enough, the experience of comparing yourself to other people, all of that simply comes from the obsessive self-centric thinking around the challenge, right? When you focus on yourself.
And from that place of focus on oneself, you actually can't do much.
There's no intelligence.
There is no intelligence, and all that is coming out, your response, can be a habitual response. There is nothing newness to it. There's no newness to it. There's no intelligence to it. There's no wisdom to it. It's just a repetitive, habitual response to a situation.
Yes.
So as long as it's old in the past and you're not awake to what is happening in the present, then you're not actually alive to a situation. And from that place, you can't definitely create wonders in life. You can't create a great destiny.
Krishna ji, your partner and co-founder in One World Academy, talks about how he won't make decisions unless he's in a beautiful state, because otherwise you're making decisions that lack intelligence.
The entire journey that a person takes comes from how Krishna ji lives his life as he's dealing with his challenges, as he's dealing with his problems. The way he moves away from a place of being limited to only from a beautiful state he would act. If not, he would wait.
Yes.
But for him, it's very instantaneous, the way he can move from one state to another.
So as you observe people now, as you're impacting lives around the world, as you're conducting the Being Limitless programs around the world, you have teachers that are being deployed around the world to spread the teachings of One World Academy, you're experiencing so many people. Is it your observation that most people are spending a significant amount of time in suffering?
In my observation,
and I
can't do a percentage.
Yes.
But it is very sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. And I ask this question because I think there are so many people, and we see this in our community, the people who come to us, there are people who recognize they're in suffering and they want to end it. But then there seem to be many people who don't recognize the fact that they're living in a state of suffering on a day-to-day basis.
One is people actually don't know that they're suffering.
They don't know they're suffering.
They are not able to differentiate between the external and the internal. They're not able to differentiate between a problem and a challenge and the inner pain that is happening within oneself. That is on one side. But we also see that so many people feel only if they suffer, only if they are in pain, they're going to achieve. So many people feel only if they're jealous and possessive, they're actually loving. They want to struggle in order to feel success, but that is a wrong understanding. In order to create a beautiful external world, we have a choice to live in a beautiful state or in a limited state. Life is limited. You're going to live for 50, 60, 70, 80 years, or probably 90, 100 years. But the question is, which state you want to live in. You want to live in a painful state and go ahead trying to achieve. Or you want to live in a beautiful state and go ahead and achieve. It's a choice that we have. But none of us have brought attention to the inner feeling. Actually, our education has not taught us to bring attention to how we feel. Our education has all the time directed us into creating success, into creating achievement, and the entire process, how you do it, is immaterial. So you get stressed, you get more stressed, you live in insecurity, you feel more insecure, but you move towards wanting to create achievement. But at One World Academy, what we're saying is the entire journey of wanting to create achievement or wanting to add value to society or wanting to contribute can be done from a beautiful space, can be done from a place of expansion, from a place of love, from a place of connection. The journey need not be painful. How many ever years we've been schooled, that focus has never come to us. And we have lived our life that way and thinking that's the way to live life.
The suffering states that we experience are a result only of our own obsessive self-centric thinking, the obsession with I in every circumstance.
Yes. And there is a path to move away from it. Yes. That's what we teach. There is a path, there is a practice, there is a process where you move away from this self-centric thinking.
Yes. In fact, if you want to make the impact
yes.
that you're capable of making in the world, you have to establish a beautiful state first.
See, if you're not actually feeling expanded and connected, how can you can't contribute. You can contribute from a place of an ideal. You can grow from a place of an ideal, but it is so painful to do anything from a place of an ideal or from a place of a value. See, if I have to be loving, I have to experience love. Just because I have to be loving, my actions, my projections can be loving, but it is not going to be loving for a long time because my state inside is not love. My state is pain, my state is unhappiness, my state is jealousy. How I am going to be loving or kind to another? So from this place of unhappiness and hurt, how is it that I'm going to contribute to another? How is it that I'm going to add value to another? How is it I'm going to bring joy in the world? See, if you are experiencing division within, you can only cause division outside. If you're in a state of suffering, there's only suffering that you can project. Even if you hold on to a value or an ideal, of contribution, the entire journey is such a struggle because you're not coming from a beautiful state.
And so there's this illusion that people, particularly in the West, have, which is, I'm living in this suffering state. I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed. It's become a normal part of living. It's almost become white noise. It's become a natural part of the process of being a professional, being a business owner. And there's this idea that if I can just create the next thing, if I can just get the business to the next level, if I can just make a little bit more money, then somehow I will be okay. I will no longer be living in this suffering state. But what have you seen in reality of people? Is there really an ability to get to a beautiful state by simply achieving that next level of whatever it is? So what we see is that there is this idea that if I can just achieve the next level in my business or achieve the next level in my life or have a little bit more income or make a few more friends or have a little bit more time, then that's how I'll get back this beautiful state of living. But is that the reality of what you see in people's experiences?
Actually, what is happening is we are training ourselves to live in an unhappy state. We are training ourselves to live in a place of hurt, in a place of sadness, in a place of feeling stressed. Even if you have everything in life, you will continue to live in that place because that's how you're wired. So your brain is continuously getting wired, and you are living in these limiting states. And you continue to live in these limiting states, trying to create wealth, trying to create achievement in life, trying to contribute. But whatever you do, you will remain in that state because you have kind of nurtured it. You made it grow.
Yes.
So you need some way to cut through it. It is not through achievement. It is not only through. You can achieve. You can do. You can have all that. You can create an extraordinary destiny by living in a beautiful state.
Yes.
Why should you live in a stressful state in order to create a great destiny?
And what you're saying is even if you create something great, you've developed this habit of thinking which is going to continue to create suffering for you.
You know only that state. You know that state of unhappiness. You know that state of anger. You know that state of fear. You'll continue to live in it.